Good afternoon, everyone. I'm your host, Carney, and today I'm going to be talking about the impact of the physical classroom environment on the students' motivation to learn and why it is necessary to implement immediate change. Have you ever been in a classroom and found it extremely hard to focus? Of course you have. We all have. This is a result of classroom climate. Classroom climate can be defined as the social, emotional, and physical aspects created by the classroom. We are all constantly yet unconsciously affected by our environment. And one major place this has a detrimental effect is in schools. One major cause of this inability to feel motivated in the classroom can be attributed to a lack of natural sunlight. According to Burlington High School senior Jillian Murray,
the classrooms that have windows, I'm much more productive in, and the ones that don't have windows, it feels kind of like you're caved in and you don't really have access to the outside world.
Though this may seem like a minute detail of classroom atmosphere, there is actually an overwhelming amount of research that links natural light to classroom productivity and overall focus. According to Steve Higgins in his literature review of school climate, the visual environment affects a learner's ability to perceive visual stimuli and affects his or her mental attitude and thus performance. Furthermore, there is evidence that lighting conditions that induce negative effect reduce performance, and therefore lighting conditions that induce positive effects improved performance. It can be concluded that what Jill has been noticing is that the amount of light in her classroom affects her performance. This trend seems to be present in every age level. For example, Melissa Parnell, an experienced kindergarten teacher, believes that
I think we're really lucky at Pineline because our classrooms all have a really big window, a whole wall of them, and they're a decent size. We do have a couple windows that open. This one here is missing a screen at the moment, so if there's bugs and stuff out there, we tend not to open that one. There's a work order to have that fixed, but there's a ton of natural light that comes in here, so I find that is nice for them. It can be a distraction, but at the same point, having the natural light come in and having them be able to look out and see the trees. We're learning a lot about the weather, so they can see if it's windy out, they can see if it's raining or snowing, by just looking out the window.
Because students at this age are inherently curious, it is important for them to be able to observe the world around them and make connections with it in order to learn. The availability of natural light is not the only factor that contributes to classroom climate. Another noticeable one is the colors in the classroom. This is arguably the most important at the kindergarten level, where children are in need of constant stimulation. Ms. Parnell states,
So if you notice, I spent some of my own money. I have all my cabinets and shelving units covered with the green fabric. So green and blue are supposed to be soothing colors, along with some the yellows and pale yellows. So the stuff that I paid for, the curtain area, those are lime green, which I think can have some energy with it. But for the most part, we found that it's been really beneficial because the kids aren't trying to snoop in there or see what's, being covered, or it's not overly organized underneath them. So at least it looks like it's a calm area when you have all the curtains actually down.
Finding this balance between enough stimulation and overstimulation can be tough, especially as children mature to the high school level. According to Smith's System, a prestigious research library, in fact, studies on emotion and color show a direct link between color and positive and negative feelings. Students at Burlington High School believe that colors in their classrooms do not promote these positive feelings. When asked how she would feel about the inclusion of colors such as red and blues in place of the current whites and beiges, senior scholar Shivani Bansal of Burlington High School shares that
even though it would still lack windows, I feel like it'll still be better and maybe make me more awake and more motivated to learn.
Good news is, this can be easily fixed. The only thing required would be a little paint and determination. The repainting of the walls to facilitate an atmosphere more cohesive to productive learning could even be turned into a fun event that promotes bonding between peers. So what's stopping us, BHS? On another note, an impact on classroom climate is noise levels. This is not to say that all noise in a classroom is bad. For example, there's evidence that some noise in the classroom is actually beneficial. According to Carrie Chandler, a published author on the subject, having a little bit of soothing noise can block out distractions and boost productivity. This makes sense if you try to apply it to your life. Picture yourself sitting in a classroom. Everyone around you is engaged in sporadic conversation, people are doing things such as tapping and eating, and you just want to get work done. Plugging in your headphones and playing calming music can be extremely helpful to block out excess noise. This is an example of a classroom that is not completely silent, yet still allows for productivity. However, this is not the case at the kindergarten level. During my interview with Mrs. Parnell, she described the extent to which outside noise impacts her classroom daily.
I do think that outside noise does affect them. We're in an older building, and we're on the bottom level, so there are classrooms above us, so if they're doing any moving furniture, it can be kind of loud here. And then we also have recess outside in the wintertime, and they use that wall of the side of the classroom there, and they throw balls against the wall. So we can hear the balls, reverberating off of the side of the wall, and the kids are like, what's that? What's that noise? So once they get used to it, after it happens a few days in a row, they kind of forget about it. But it's also, you can see some kids for the after-school program out there now that they use this whole grass area. So at times it can be a big distraction if they're out there. There's also like a pavement right here, so sometimes they're using chalk right outside of the window. So that can be a bit of a distraction for them to focus, especially in the afternoon when they've already spent a lot of time learning, and then to have the big kids outside playing can be difficult for them to concentrate at times.
This obviously presents a huge problem when trying to get students to focus in the classroom. However, this can be easily fixed. There could be a ban placed on using the school walls during recess, and in place of that, different activities could be promoted. This would allow both the students in the classroom to continue learning as well as the students outside to enjoy themselves at recess. The last aspect of classroom environment that I will be touching upon today is furniture arrangement. According to Vicky Elmer, a renowned vlogger, the traditional layout of desks in rows makes it, quote, hard for instructors to move into the audience, separating him or her from the students. Student participation seems to drop off towards the back of the room unless sound reinforcement is used. And as I previously stated, when students are disengaged, they become unfocused and resultantly are unmotivated to learn. Senior Jenna Heffler of Burlington High School describes how having circular tables in place of desks would help her to stay engaged in the classroom. Layout.
I definitely would like having more circular desks. It'd lead to more collaboration, being able to sit with your peers, and more like broaden your understanding of whatever you're doing.
Luckily, this is an easy fix. The current desks could be sold and mass for their parts, and with the money, circular tables could be bought. With all of that being said, I think it is obvious why classrooms need to be improved to facilitate more classroom engagement and, in turn, a better classroom climate. One positive that will come from this is that students will be in noticeably happier moods. When they are more engaged in the classroom and motivated to learn, we can expect them to be less stressed. This lack of stress will cause them to be happier. In addition, students will take more from their high school experience that can be applied to their future lives. For example, if they're engaged in class, they will be actively learning the subject matter and cram less for assessments. This active learning will increase their retention of the subject and increase the likelihood that they will remember this by the time they enter college. Though there may be obstacles such as lack of funding and unwillingness to deviate from the way classrooms have always been designed, I believe that together we can do it, BHS. Thanks for listening to my podcast about the impact of classroom environment on learning outcomes. Hope to get in touch with you all soon. Bye for now, your host, Erica Carney.